Good afternoon, it's your boy Terrell's coming at you on this beautiful, beautiful Friday, July 1st, Canada Day. Got to give a little shout out to my friends up there in Canada. Lots in the news, lots going on in the news. We have the upcoming political party conventions, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, the recent Brexit vote where the UK left the EU, which was a big thing. Many people think that has implications on the presidential race here in America. And there's this idea, there's this creeping kind of thing that's creeping into the American politics where NAFTA and some of the trade agreements in the past that didn't help the working man, so to speak, that Donald Trump will be the beneficiary of these bad trade agreements and this sort of stuff. He is really, as it's being sold, the champion for the working man, which couldn't be farther from the truth. That's complete bullshit, if you ask me. Donald Trump, a champion for the working man. Let's take it point by point. Here we have a man, who made his money the old way in America. He inherited it. He's not self-made. He didn't, work his way up from, nothing to something, so to speak. So, the idea that he built a business and it was based on people and based on, expanding the circle of opportunity and, people growing weight is up the chain. That didn't happen. He makes his money as a brand. He makes his money by selling his name off in licensing agreements, and he really doesn't have a lot of employees, so to speak. He's not a developer in the classic sense where he buys the steel, he buys, the concrete, and he pours it in. A great skyscraper is put up there. No, that's not the case. He gets a lot of his money from tax increment financing through, city contractors playing the game behind the scenes. So, no, he's not a champion of the working man, so to speak. He's lived on the largesse of the taxpayer pretty much his whole life. And, that's borne out in the 70s, that's borne out in the 80s and the 90s, and he's been really a product of every decade he's been in. Take the last decade with Trump University. Our institutions were falling down around us in the 2000s. I mean, we had, the Catholic pre-scandal, so you couldn't trust religion. We had Enron and all the financial scandals of the 2000s to 2010, so we couldn't trust the markets. So people were looking for something to trust. They were looking for something to believe in. Trump came along with all these scams, Trump University, Trump Institute, where, he was going to teach you how to be a billionaire and how to think like a billionaire. And a lot of those books were big sellers in the 2000s. And we had books out there called The Secret, and it's all based on how you felt, sort of thing. And that stuff sold big in the 2000s because people were in a bad place where, it played on people's emotions, how you felt. But at the end of the day, it wasn't about how you felt, it's what you were looking to build. I'll tell you the real secret. Secret is what you're going to build. Are you going to build something, and is the something you build going to be based on something real and not a lie? That's the secret. Not, you kind of imagine and you kind of speak into existence something. No, you have to get out there and work for it. And we had a lot of scamsters in the 2000s to 2010. A lot of scams based on how you felt. The subprime mortgage prices. You felt that you could live in a home that's $500,000 while you made $10 an hour. A lot of things based on how people felt. And Donald Trump and slicksters like that took advantage of that. He took advantage of the greed is good in the 80s of, junk bonds and, buying these big ornate properties on debt, on top of debt, on top of debt. But here's the trick. He was allowed to go broke multiple times and come back because based on the way our system is built, because he was born into the money. So it's like he played a high stakes casino game and he was able to always get his money back and, buy back in, where the average man, can't relate to that experience of being able to buy back in. You make a mistake and you'll feel it for 25 years. You have to play this game almost down the wire. And that's where, people talking Trump up as this populist, that's what runs into friction. Because on one hand, he talks about doing away with NAFTA, and you're not going to get that toothpaste back in the tooth bottle, doing away with NAFTA. Trade is with us. Globalization is with us. We have to adjust to it. We have to make it better. There are things in NAFTA we can do to make it better, but You know, you have to prepare yourself to compete in the global, construct, in this global economy. You know, and the people that are railing against trade and don't want to compete globally are the people that didn't want to compete locally. You know, they put rules up to keep certain people out, black people, Hispanics, and all the minorities, so to speak, were kept out, locked out of opportunities. So they didn't build up those muscles competing locally, and that's why they're losing globally. And Donald Trump is pandering to these people and really coddling them. You know, the coddling's over. You can't be coddled. You have to compete in this global world. But globalization can be made better where they can be set up where people can connect and create businesses more and travel more and do certain things. We can set up where individuals can connect and, create more instead of the big companies. Then great, globalization can be a winner. But Donald Trump as the Pied Piper against globalization, against, these forces, and he's going to fight for the working man. Save me the bullshit. I mean, some of the stuff you see in some of these feeds, people need to really read what NAFTA is and what the EU is. And yes, it has its failings, but there are trade agreements on climate change and different things where it's helped. So, you have to strike a balance. Thought I'd, kind of throw my 2 cents in there. Donald Trump is not a winner on the economy. You can't trust a man with a multi-trillion-dollar economy that fucks off millions, decade after decade after decade going. He's filing bankruptcy every decade. It just doesn't add up. And then he's selling the Trump University to teach you how to be like him, and it just doesn't add up. So, go do it what you will. Just thought I'd put my 2 cents in. Have a good day.